Next up, we have our third contestant. They have made their way through also from the Helsinki qualifier. Pretty interesting game name as well, because I'm a singer, or I'm not a singer anymore, I used to be. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I really like the theme of when you're using pronouns in a different type of sense, when you're looking at the third perspective and all that stuff. I wonder if it translates into their game as well, called They Are You. The team Babylocraft.
Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good time. I'm the dumb guy who tried to go backstage that way. So my name is Emil, I'm from Team Babylocraft, and I'm here to talk to you about They Are You, the game in which you become who you kill. So, in it, you the player are a boy who was killed by his father, later resurrected by the god of death himself, and granted with an ability to possess the bodies of the enemies that you've slain. And with these newfound abilities, you then embark on an epic quest for revenge. So, in the game, you as a player have an ability to swap into the bodies of the enemies that you kill. This is the core mechanic of our game, and in no way is it optional, meaning that every time you do kill an enemy, and you'll have to, you automatically transfer into the body of that enemy, gaining its characteristics, both strengths and weaknesses. This makes each level of our game an interesting puzzle for the player to solve, which should be appealing to both the more reactive and strategic player types, as well as those who like hardcore experiences, since our game can be quite punishing. In addition to all that, we also try to cater for those who are more inclined towards story, by providing an interesting setting that is a mixture between Lovecraftian horror and Babylonian mythology. But enough about that, let's look at the core game mechanic itself. Here in the gameplay situation, we can see the player entering a room in which an enemy archer type is waiting and instantly kills the player. So the player clearly needs to take some different approach in this particular situation than simply bum rushing it. So in another attempt, the player realizes there's another archer in another room which is easier to kill, and after killing that one, the player re-enters the room and with an equal combat range is able to kill that archer and then go on killing the other enemy type in that room. This goes to show both the more puzzly and action elements of our game. They Are You will eventually become a pay-to-play game for PC and console, much like similar titles such as Hotline Miami, Katana Zero, and God's Trigger. Now, take the top 30% of games on Steam in terms of sales. These games have sold, puzzle and action games, these games have sold at least 150,000 copies. Given a similar success and a hypothetical price of 15 euros, this game would then go on to make a total estimate of more than 2 million euros. And additionally, we've also been planning to port this thing to mobile, making the prospects of They Are You pretty promising, given the right execution. And in terms of execution, the game is now in its demo stage with the 4 first levels complete, which you can try out here today. And by the end of this year, we aim to have 10 levels, hopefully leading up to a release candidate by the beginning of next year. And here's a picture of the team doing said execution, most of whom should be here today, soon joining me on the stage. We are students from Aalto University. Please come talk to us, come try out our game, and most of all, have a really good time today. My name is Emil, I'm from Team Babylocraft, and we bring you They Are You, the game in which you become who you kill. Thank you.
And as usual, time for the Q&A section of this presentation. Pretty cool presentation, guys. Really like some of the stuff, especially the art style of this game. So I just wanted to ask you guys about the mythology side and all this. Have you guys studied some of the mythology in general? Because you mentioned Lovecraft books and the kind of Cthulhu and the Babylonic type of, well, I mean, in this game maybe portrays a bit of a horror aspect as well, kind of a bit scary here and there. But back to the original question, did you guys actually studied all this kind of stuff before? Is it enthusiasm or what?
Yes, we did. We thought it was really innovative to look into this ancient Babylonian mythology. So then we decided to mix it up with some Lovecraftian horror.
All right, all right. Jury, you have something on your mind?
Yeah. Hello, guys, and great big team to see there. And I really like your positive calculations of reaching 2 million downloads and all this. That's brilliant. I'm really interested to hear, in the core mechanics, you showed us an example of, you can find this other enemy in the other room and then advance. And then also, I remember when seeing the game, you could shoot the enemy across the bridge to get over the bridge where there was no bridge actually there in the gap. Would you have some other examples, where you utilize the game idea to its best?
Yeah, do you want to talk about the shield? Yes. Yeah, so we have planned some other enemy types. We have about 5 enemy planned in concept states, and each enemy will have different abilities. So adding all those will add a lot to the level design options. But already in this version of the game, there is some other kind of similar ideas than with the archer shooting across stuff, but there is also this mechanic that, for example, the undead can break some stuff while the archer cannot. And I don't want to spoil the game, but...
Cliffhangers.
But yes, for example, the undead does not have to kill, he can just stun. So he can stun an enemy and transform into an archer, teleport somewhere, then come back to the original position to go back as an undead so you can break the vases and progress further. So, yeah, that's an example.
Okay, I'll wait to see those.
Thank you, guys. Looks awesome. So I'll continue with the same theme. Now I'm thinking am I right if I'm claiming that kind of the meaningful decision by the player is to who to kill, who to become? Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Then my follow-up question is that as a player, how do I know who to kill? So am I always kind of seeing and am I able to observe my enemies and or is it more like that, I kill this one and then it's a little bit surprise what's the function and how it behaves?
So yes, it's a die and retry game. So first you don't know what the enemies do. You have to try experiment, then you are killed. You're like, okay, this is not a good strategy. I need to plan something else. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question on that. So is it like one world that you need to finish and then you just, every time you die, you start from the beginning, or are there some checkpoints, or?
So yeah, there is actually many checkpoints. So it's not too cumbersome for the player to start over, yeah.
Is there any kind of metagame progress, or is it your main goal is to progress and kill your father who killed you?
Yes. So for now, in this version of the game, there is no metagame. But we also want to implement a soul collection system. So every time you swap to an enemy, you get their soul. And then at some checkpoints, you can choose to transform into this monster that you killed before. So this adds another layer of strategy.
Okay, cool. It was a great pitch, and props for thinking about mobile.
Yeah, thank you.
One more question. Yeah, so game development is not only about making cool stuff. It's also about business. So, what do you think, or consider being your sort of unique selling points when you do the marketing, and what type of ways to get visibility for this type of a title?
First of all, I think that streamers will enjoy this game.
because it's really enjoyable to see someone trying to plan and fail again and again until they succeed. So I think that's, in terms of marketing, the selling point of the game.
This might be a silly question, but if some streamer shows how to go through the game, then it kind of like, it takes the surprise away from the player.
Yeah, that's true, but that could be said to many games, and it works well enough. So, also in our games, there are usually multiple solutions to solving one level. So there's always room for more.
All right, thank you for the questions. Thank you for the presentation. Let's make some noise for Babylocraft.